Many teens are stressed out.
Stress.
I'm constantly under stress.
School.
Opposite sex.
Parents.
Like your social life.
Family life.
If you have a job, that's another thing.
Peer pressure.
And many teens are overwhelmed by pressures.
Well, last night I went to bed at 11:30 and woke up at 5. That would be stress.
There's so little time here.
In this issue of Real Life Teens, we'll talk about teens and stress. We'll cover academic stress.
School is like the foundation of all stress in life.
We'll talk about stress from social life.
Whether or not to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you know. And
Mostly living up to people's expectations.
yeah.
We'll give tips and suggestions on coping with stress.
But some people know how to balance it, and some people don't.
We'll show why a positive attitude can alleviate stress.
I think that's where all the pressure comes from, is your self-confidence.
And we'll see why putting stress in perspective now will help for the rest of your life.
Relax, enjoy what you have of your childhood.
Let's start with a major source of stress, academics.
If I mess up on one test, it's not a big deal. My little brother, he's in second grade and he's already stressed out about having to learn the times tables, and I'm just like, that's just the beginning.
For many teens, the most significant source of stress comes from academics and schoolwork.
If you have a stress in your life and you really think about it, break it down, it all leads back to school.
Often, teens find too little time for too many school obligations.
Go home, do homework, go to sleep, wake up the next day, go to school, come back, and repeat the whole thing over again.
You have a project due in every class. You have tests the next day. Every class gives you homework.
I think stress is just something that you put on yourself when you're trying to do too many things at the same time and pushing yourself beyond your capabilities. I have tryouts until 6:30, and then I have to go home and watch some movie. Yesterday, I had tryouts, and then I had chamber choir, and then I had church, and I got home at about 9 o'clock, started my homework.
Most teens push themselves for success, but some push too hard.
I'm a person that likes to achieve perfection.
Stress could also be from nervousness. For example, if you have like a big test to go to and you've studied, but you're constantly nervous and stressful about how you're going to do because there's so much pressure to get a good grade on it.
It's having a test and having to cram for it.
Part of being a successful student is being involved. You know, and it's fun, but then you get home late and you have to do your homework.
I like to get the best out of me, and sometimes I push myself too far.
You don't sleep at all. You get 3 hours of sleep. Your eating is also, because you don't have time to eat, you get to homework all the time. So it's pretty stressful.
Academic overload often comes from time management problems.
For example, it's having 5 papers to write within one night and they're all due tomorrow morning and you have them all to write because you left them till the last minute. That would be stress because that's just physically impossible to do.
They wanting to get good grades and not having enough time to study for this AP exam and do this for this class, and there's not enough time to do everything, so you have to cram it all in and do it fast. So that's stress.
Or it can come from mixing up priorities.
Your homework seems to come last sometimes, but you need to get it done. And that happens late when you get home. And you have to finish the homework. You can't go to bed until you finish the homework because then you get there the next day and then you're behind.
Let's say a project's due the next day and you're working all night, no sleep.
Sometimes academic stress comes from challenges that are out of proportion with the time available.
I would study constantly, and sometimes I didn't get sleep, sometimes I was grumpy. It's just so much stress on you to do this, to be perfect at this, to get a good grade on that. And, there's so much stress in high school, I think.
When facing homework stress, follow common sense. Start with a nutritious snack to rejuvenate yourself from a long school day.
A good snack, it gets you energized.
Find a good workspace and avoid distractions like TV, phone, and internet chat rooms.
A lot of people just sit there, eat, watch TV. Oh, and don't use the phone, unplug the phone.
Reduce homework stress by setting goals ahead of time and prioritize your work.
I try to do the easiest first because it makes me feel more accomplished because I've got more done.
The biggest source of homework stress comes from procrastination.
Just sit there and worry and complain, nothing can get done. Just do it and do it as best as you can.
Try to avoid all-nighters. They can be unhealthy, ineffective, and make you exhausted, causing even more stress.
If it's the last minute and you have 5 papers to write, just pick one, do it, and go talk to your teachers about the rest of them.
You can't like leave everything to that point because then you're not going to get it done. It's just unhealthy.
Never put too much on yourself because it can harm you.
If you leave too much to like the last minute and you can't handle it, if you can't handle the pressure, it's not going to be good at all. You're going to break.
Nervous breakdown, I guess.
You can greatly reduce academic stress by planning ahead of time. Make a list of what has to get done. Practice time management. Identify those areas that are causing the most academic stress.
It got to the point where I was like, after going to school every day and repeating the same process, like, what is the point of this?
Academic stress means keeping schoolwork in perspective. Be disciplined, but realize that homework is only a portion of an overall balanced school experience.
I stopped putting so much stress on myself about school, and I started doing other activities such as ASB, which has helped me a lot. And I joined extracurricular clubs and went out with my friends a lot. And just try to show myself that there's other things besides school and life right now.
Getting involved socially has many advantages. Next, avoiding social stress in high school. Most teens are familiar with stress coming from high school social life.
It's like a pressure, like you have to be a certain way, you have to join the cheerleading squad or wear these jeans or wear that makeup.
Pressure to fit in can cause stress on most teens.
Sometimes some people are trying to be somebody they're not just to be what that person wants them to be. That can be real hard on you.
There's so many people that worry about what is this person going to think of me and what's that person going to think of me.
Pressure to fit in can include pressure to look a certain way, and most teens know this can be stressful.
Most girls think that they're supposed to be skinny and look beautiful, or how the media thinks you're supposed to look.
Media tells kids that you have to be perfect, you have to, have the perfect body, wear the right kind of clothes, the right brands.
Society's really obsessed with being skinny.
A lot of times it comes from television or from magazines.
Girls have kind of a standard that they feel like they need to live up to.
And they see what celebrities look like, or they see what models look like and such, and they think that they should look just like that.
The problem is, if a teenager focuses all the energy it takes to achieve a perfect look every day, it can create tremendous stress in all aspects of the teen's life.
These days, the girls are so into how they look and what other people think of how they look that I wouldn't be surprised if half the people in the school had problems with their nutrition and stuff like that.
Start by accepting the way you look. But if you want to improve a certain aspect of your appearance, set realistic goals you can take slowly.
You see the bad things. You see the negatives.
You pick out everything.
I think it takes time if you really want to work at it and be thin or something. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight.
No one can look perfect every day. So learn to accept yourself regardless of your appearance.
Be yourself is what I think. I mean, I don't understand why people try so hard to impress everybody. They just need to be happy with themselves.
That body is part of us. We're a physical being, that's our body. We're an emotional being, that's our emotions. We're an intellectual being, that's our mind. And I think all of that, when it's healthy, works together to make our life wonderful.
I think everyone's beautiful in their own way. Even if they are heavy, if they're overweight, they're all beautiful in their own way.
So be comfortable with who you are, instead of stressful.
They're showing all these perfect people and they kind of send a message that you need to look like that too.
Obviously the entire magazine is made of advertisements of beautiful women, and they're all wearing the small bikinis, prancing on the beach or something. And I'm guessing they probably get the idea, yeah, I'm supposed to look like that,
The people get that stuck in their heads and then that's what they go for.
I usually write goals like on my mirror, or I say like you're special, because sometimes I do have like low self-esteem and stuff, and there are a lot of people that care about you that you don't know.
One of the biggest sources of social stress comes from dating and relationships in high school. That's up next. Dating and relationships can be a source of fun in high school, but often a source of major stress.
You want to meet up to their expectations and be perfect all the time when you're around them. You're afraid you'll say the wrong thing.
If their boyfriend breaks up with them, they're sad.
Many teens feel pressure to date.
Yeah, definitely to have like a girlfriend, especially if all your friends do.
And decisions over intimacy can create stress.
I just think there's a lot of peer pressure on sex.
They back down and they just say okay, and they get pressured into it, but I mean, I don't really understand it. If that's what they believe, then that's what they believe, and that's what they should stand up for.
Giving in to pressure to move too fast can be very stressful for teens.
Feeling used sexually, boys cheating on them.
So establish your own beliefs and stand up for them.
I think you should be very no, not like, no, stop, no. You have to say no.
The best stress reliever on dates is to get to know someone before you date them.
If you're gonna go out, then go with a group of friends and just be friends with them before anything, so you get to know them and everything.
Many teens avoid stress by going on group dates instead of one-on-one.
You'll see a big group of kids, a co-ed group, and there'll always be one or two people that have paired off, one or two couples that have paired off in the group.
For me, like, dating is like, do you want to hang out, not like, do you want to go on a date? It's not like that. I mean, if you enjoy someone's company, then you hang out together. I don't consider it dating.
Dating and relationships don't have to be sources of stress. They can be great ways to learn and have fun.
All through your life, you're dealing with relationships. Like when you relate to people, you're dealing with different kind of relationships. It's another stress that you're going to put on yourself. It depends on whether it's like a good stress or a bad stress.
To avoid stress from dating, keep it in perspective.
I would hope that he or she would not make a commitment, a strong commitment, too soon, get to know the person, and find out if they can be friends first.
Sometimes a major stress area in a teen's life comes from home. That's next. Home life is a source of stress for most teens.
A lot of my friends are depressed and unhappy with their living situations. Most of the time it's with their parents.
Usually, stress at home has to do with growing up and issues of responsibility.
I got my license, I want to drive the car and I want to take the car out and do things, and I guess it's just, that's part of stress, trying to get your parents to trust you more.
God, my parents aren't letting me go out with my boyfriend,
Many teens feel pressure to live up to their parents' expectations.
Parents are the ones that raise them, and they're just some kids at least are dedicated to trying to please their parents, and one way that they can is by getting better grades, because their parents are always telling them, get good grades. So they're under a lot of stress to get good grades.
But sometimes there are problems at home, and this can create significant stress in a teen's life.
Some people don't have families that are supportive, and that can just cause a lot of problems when you're trying to come to school and do what you have to do and keep on a brave face, but you have problems at home.
They'll pretend like they're some happy person when they're not, when something's really wrong, and they won't show it.
Things aren't okay, that, I'll never get out of the situation, or I don't want to end up like my parents,
If a parent abuses drugs or alcohol, the stress on a teen can be major, and it's time to get help.
Maybe they've dug themselves into this hole, into this pit of depression where they feel like they can't get out of it.
From experience, I know that you're not supposed to keep it in or else it all explodes.
When problems at home are serious, it's time to talk to an adult who can help.
You should talk to someone for sure, a friend, a family member.
To bottle it all up inside and just to stay by yourself with all the problems that you have and all the pain that you're feeling, it's not healthy.
Don't try to face major stress at home without help. You have a right to get help when stress is overwhelming. Some solutions to stress next. When you're overwhelmed by stress, the first step is talk to someone.
If you tell someone, maybe it'll leave stress off of you, and maybe that person can give you input on what your problem is. I think you'd be more successful in helping yourself by reaching out to other people.
I think it helps a lot talking with people and changing opinions.
Get to know yourself and identify your priorities. This is a major part of combating stress.
Knowing who you are in the inside, being who you are, not putting on a role for other people.
Identify your goals in life.
Strive for your goals, sit down and think about what you want to do. Life is about achievements, goals, and how you go about your life in achieving those goals.
Find people who will support you when you are under stress.
It helps me when I talk to like my friends or just to really talk to anybody that like I can trust and that I think would help me.
I'll just call people or tell them just to come over and they'll listen to my problems, and then after a while, like, they'll make me laugh and then I'll forget about it for a little bit. But usually I'll just talk out my problem with whoever it is.
Make decisions that are best for you. When you are overwhelmed by stress, it's sometimes best to reduce your load.
It's not okay to give up, but when all things have been considered, it's not a bad idea.
When stress gets in the way of your health or safety, it's time to adjust your priorities.
I stopped taking the class because it was really affecting my life. You know, I had too many things going for me, so I'm taking it again next year, you know, with a different perspective on it.
And it got to the point that I was getting like 2 hours of sleep every day, and it was really bad. And I was having to take sleeping pills so I could sleep. And finally, I gave up. I'm like, forget this. I can't do this to myself. And I just went to the teacher and dropped the class.
The lessons you learn for handling stress in high school can help the rest of your life.
Because when you hold it in, I guess, like, it stays there, and
it doesn't go away, and it all just boils up. And
if I'm involved in a job that's just taking all of my time, I would tell myself to just take it easy for a while, maybe take a vacation.
So develop positive solutions to stress to be prepared for a healthier life. More than ever, high school students face stress from all sides.
like peer pressure, schoolwork, family, friends. There's a lot of little things.
Learning to cope with stress starts today.
It starts today, it starts now, because life goes by so quickly. So just take your time.
Don't worry about anything too much, because